Hi everybody, this video is sponsored by contribution from Colleen, and here's her story. Dear Ollie, I've made a PayPal contribution and would really appreciate it if you can enlighten me about a matter that has bothered me over the years. I'm a 53-year-old woman. My overt narcissistic mother and covert narcissistic father adopted me when I was 4 months old. Both were alcoholics. Their biological son, let's call him Dick, was their golden child, and he was 3 years older than me. With my father's death when I was 20 years old, Dick became my mother's son husband. I went no contact with both of them when I was about 24 years old. In my late teens and 20s, various extended relatives and or friends of my parents would say things like, "I really like your brother." I often would not respond and allow the silence to just hang in the air. Usually they would become uncomfortable and change the subject. Other times I would say good, and then change the subject myself. I knew that I could not confide in them, so I never filled them in on Dick's torture of me as a child. By the way, this torture included physical beatings, molestation, and having to do his homework after he failed grade 8 twice. Sometimes they would say, "You don't like your brother very much, do you?" I would say that my brother and I had nothing in common. My father asked me this question once when I was about 17, and he laughed at my response. He made some comment about me being diplomatic. As I knew that my parents would just make my life harder or kick me out of the house, I dreamed of never telling the truth. Although my father knew that Dick picked on me, I do not know if he was aware of the full extent of Dick's torture. While my mother was just evil, my father was oblivious. Ollie, were these people telling me how I ranked? I felt like they were telling me that they favored Dick over me and that they were warning me not to say anything negative about Dick. Were they my mother's flying monkeys and trying to get information from me, or were they just being curious? Although I'm not in contact with any of these people anymore, I have always wondered why people would mention Dick when they knew I had very little to do with him in my teenage years and then went no contact in my mid-20s. I also strongly suspect that these people knew that my family was messed up. It's not like we had been talking about Dick. These comments would come up out of the blue, or when there was a full lull in conversation. My immediate reaction was fear. Your insights would be greatly appreciated. Yours truly, Colleen. Your suspicions are exactly right. When people make a comment like that to you that is so out of character of the person you know, they're usually digging for information because they're sensing something isn't right. And I'll give you an example. When I was still married to my first wife, I've talked about the shore many times, and I know I believe I brought this up. And it's something I learned later on in life, in my mid to late 20s. After, I guess, the first time I tried to go no contact with my parents, is that these new group of friends that they would have around, because now I'm an adult. Now, when I was 17, 18, I never talked to any of my parents' friends or anything. So it wasn't until I got a little older, into my 20s, when I started going down the shore because I loved the beach so much, that these people on the block, whenever my parents weren't around, and the one I remember specifically the most was people who lived like 2 houses down, Barbara and Tom. And I was able to clue in on this at that point, because like I already knew my parents were fucked up and what the relationship was. So I wasn't ever a defender of my parents. So like that same comment, "Oh, your mother and father seem to have such a good relationship." And me and my ex-wife looked at each other and laughed. We started laughing. And then you get the what? And all the information, like, oh, well, I knew, and this and that. That's people digging for information because they know something's not right. They know something's not right. But your fear is what led to your silence, is that you couldn't see it. You couldn't see it. And yeah, to your other point, were your parents trying to tell you that you didn't match up to the golden child? Yeah, because you weren't biologically theirs. When narcissists adopt, it's deadly. It's deadly when narcissists adopt, because you really are like a hired member of the family that is a second-class citizen. Especially when they already have a child of their own. Especially when they have a child of their own. They had a son. There's something probably told them they needed a daughter, but they didn't want to roll the dice and possibly have another son because they like maybe they wanted the perfect family unit. So they went out, and that's what narcissists do. They will go out and they will adopt a pet like a child, or adopt a child as if they are a pet. I'm not saying everybody who adopts is a narcissist. I'm saying when narcissists adopt, this is what they do. This is what they do. A narcissist adopting a child is the same as them adopting a pet to them. So yes, you were being told that you weren't on the same level. And that is all emotional and psychological, planting those seeds of narcissism. That budded that you couldn't even speak up when these people are in front of you saying, oh, your brother is this, your brother. No. And I guarantee you, if you turned around and said, no, you would have seen them say, well, I always suspected something wasn't right. But it was you being adopted as a pet, basically, that led you to all this thinking and led you to introvert and not call it out. But I'm glad you're no contact. Sounds like this is exactly the type of people you need to cut out of your life, and you got them out early. So congratulations on that as well. But your insights are pretty much dead on. Dead on. So, you have a lot of insight on your own, a lot of you. So you already know the answers. You just need somebody to validate it, I guess, sometimes. So thank you so much for your contribution, and thank you for your story. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions or advice in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, if you have a topic you'd like me to cover or a narcissist you'd like to expose, you know what to do with the PayPal and my email links in the description box. I'll have the video right back to you. This is Ollie Matthews. Thanks for watching. See you all again soon. Bye.